Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
I'm Father Robert Balacer with Twit TV, and this is the Dell Precision M3800. At 0.31 to 0.71 inches thick, 14.65 inches wide, and 10 inches high, the M3800 is a svelte 4.15-pound Dell business class notebook. Dell brought the weight of the machine down by using a combination of aluminum and carbon fiber in the chassis, making it durable while giving it a mean profile and forward-looking style. The M3800 is powered by a 4th generation Intel Haswell i7-4702Q quad-core CPU running at 2.2 GHz, boostable to 3.2 with 6 MB of cache. The CPU sits on top of 16 GB of DDR3 1600 MHz memory and is supported by integrated Intel 4600 graphics, as well as a discrete NVIDIA Quadro K1100M with 2 GB of dedicated GDDR5 memory. The integrated graphics will be engaged during normal usage for better battery life, while the Quadro will be automatically activated when more graphics horsepower is needed to drive the pixels. Speaking of pixels, the M3800 has a lot of them, 6,840,000 to be exact. The M3800 sports a Gorilla Glass covered 15.6-inch ultra-sharp 3800 by 1800 LED backlit QHD Plus panel, complete with 10-point multi-touch overlay. The screen is bright and its colors well saturated. The viewing angles are generous, and it might quite simply be the most beautiful screen I've ever seen on a laptop, PC or Mac, bar none. Storage comes in the form of a PCI Express 512GB Samsung SM841M SATA SSD, providing 516 MB per second of read and 401 MB per second of write. Networking is provided by an Intel dual-band wireless and Bluetooth adapter that supports 802.11a, B, G, N, and AC, as well as Bluetooth 4.0. There is no integrated gigabit Ethernet port, so you'll have to use a USB adapter for wired network access. The left side of the machine sports a full-size HDMI output, a mini display port, 2 USB 3.0 ports, a combo audio jack, and a battery life indicator. The right side of the unit adds a media card reader, a USB 2.0 port, and a third USB 3.0 port. The keyboard is properly spaced, solid with decent travel and feedback, and user-toggled backlit keys. Likewise, the multi-touch trackpad is responsive and gesture-enabled, properly weighted for fast but accurate touch. 2 speakers below the palm rest provide passable sound, even if not overwhelming. But enough about specs. Let's hear about the performance. In PC Mark Vantage, the Precision M3800 scored 20,738, putting it firmly in the desktop replacement realm of the venerable benchmark. Though the Quadro graphics part and the 3800 by 1800 resolution means that the M3800 isn't really made for gaming, it still has enough power to eke out a score of 8594 in 3D Mark Vantage. All that power does take a toll on the M3800 in the form of battery life. Runtime is so-so, with a 91 watt-hour lithium-ion battery providing about 6.5 hours of moderate use. Beyond the benchmarks, the M3800 is a joy to work with. The combination of the quad-core CPU, generous amounts of system memory, and fast SSD means that everything was faster. In particular, Adobe Premiere was brilliant on this notebook, flying through rendering tasks faster than the Mac Pros we use here at Twit. Even the ventilation was done right, with dual fans and a heat spreader keeping sound to a minimum during regular computing tasks. The Dell Precision M3800 is available now. Pricing runs from $17.99 to $26.30. Let's start with the cons. The first thing has to be price. $25.55 is a lot of cheddar, but I'm not saying that it's not worth it. I mean, you do get a lot for your money. This processor, this screen, it is a mobile desktop replacement. Still, $25.55 is a lot of money. The second thing has to be battery. Even with this 91 watt-hour battery, we were getting between 6 and 7 hours of life, and that's if we really squeezed. That just doesn't compare favorably to a lot of other notebooks. Now, granted, it has a bigger screen, it has a dedicated graphics processor, it has a faster CPU, but still, you know, if it's going to be mobile, it probably should last a little bit longer. The third thing is the lack of an integrated Ethernet port. Now, I know there are going to be people out there who say, well, why not just use a USB dongle? And that's true, you can do that. But if this is really a business class notebook, to me, it says that that should be integrated into the packet. I shouldn't have to carry around an extra piece to get the functionality out of my business class machine. Now let's look to the pros. On the pro side, of course, is the speed. They just really pack this thing with everything that you need to go fast. It's got that dedicated graphics processor. It's got a quad-core i7. It's got 16 gigabytes of memory. It's got 512 gigabytes of SSD and a PCI Express slot. It's just packed to the gills with all the things to make it go. But again, it's not just about speed, it's about style. I love the magnesium/aluminum/carbon fiber construction. It feels good, it feels solid, and more than that, it just looks good. Everything from the cover to this rubberized surface just feels as if they put their homework into giving you a notebook that you can use and show off. And that can be important. The last thing I really like about this is just the accessibility of all the features. The ports are spaced right on both sides. It just feels light. It feels really, really fast. And it feels like I can carry this around and have it be my daily driver without being either too heavy or too fragile. In other words, when I compare the pros and the cons, well, the Dell Precision M3800 is a definite buy. I'm Father Robert Ballecer with Before You Buy.